It's a great day to be a Gamecock, isn't it? I tell you what, we have been joking around the office for the last year that I've been here that we're going to call this the I Told You So groundbreaking. And that's because so many great Gamecocks who have walked this path before us have had the vision of us having our very own home here at the University of South Carolina. Literally over a decade ago, we started raising money for this project, started looking at design options, started looking at places around Columbia that would be the best fit for Gamecock Nation to build their house. And so today is the culmination of those activities. We're going to spend some time this morning. We want to honor a number of men and women who have helped make this project possible. I'll give a disclaimer at the front end. Because we are an alumni association that represents 270,000 living Gamecocks, I will apologize in advance if we miss someone today. It's not because we don't love you, and it's not because we don't recognize it. We're just so doggone excited and haven't slept in the last week that the chances of missing someone are there. So I'll apologize in advance for that. I want to welcome our Board of Governors of My Carolina Alumni Association. Our president, Eddie Brown, will be speaking in a few moments. I'd like to ask the remainder of our board members, if you're here, just raise your hand so we can recognize you this morning. We have a great turnout of our board. You're going to see the executive committee of our board in a few moments. We're going to turn some dirt and begin the building process. We also have a number of members of our board of trustees. President Brown will be recognizing them in a few moments. I know that I saw our city manager, Teresa Wilson, come in, our city council and the mayor, both county councils. I saw Chairman Washington come in. I think Greg Pierce and Mr. Livingston are also with him. Chairman Banning and our colleagues over at Lexington County Council have done so much to ensure that we have this opportunity to break ground today. I saw Bill Ellen and John Hardy come in a little bit earlier, who represent the Midlands Authority for Conventions, Sports, and Tourism. I also see James Bennett seated with them. The Midlands Authority, their staff and their board are our neighbors across the street, and we're excited to be across the street from Columbia's famously hot convention center. But today we're going to talk about being famously cocky. All right, so our friends over across the street have famously hot. We're going to be famously cocky on this side of the street. We're excited to be next door to Bo Autry and Tony Tam and the folks at the Hilton Hotel. And we're just excited to be in the Vista. We see the Alumni Center as the bridge between the best hospitality district in the state of South Carolina and the best university in the United States of America. And we are honored to build your alumni home on this piece of property. We want to take some time today just to talk about some of those who've gone before us, folks like Flynn Bowie and Marcia Cole, Amy Stone, who filled in as interim during the search process for my hiring. Those that have filled the role of executive director of My Carolina have done an incredible job laying a vision and preparing us for a day like today. I'd also like to recognize my wife, Sandy, who's in the audience today, who gets to put up with spreadsheets spread across the dining room table, building plans that are laid out all over the floor. And for those, anybody ever seen that Jake at State Farm commercial where the guy, late at night is talking to someone on the phone? I'd like to thank John Lumpkin for calling me at those hours. And if you guys know John actually has a solar-powered cell phone, so when the sun comes up, the cell phone works. And I'm just picking. John Lumpkin and I see John MacArthur with Haynesworth Sinclair Boyd. The two Johns, as we called them at the office, have helped us really form a super development team to lay out today's activities and to build this building. Thanks to their hard work under the leadership of Lee Bussell, we also had James Bennett, Bill Bethay. One of the things, Paula's going to shoot me for this, what you may not realize is we actually acquired our first piece of property for Alumni Center when Bill Bethay was president of My Carolina Alumni Association. Bill, we thank you for helping us on our selection team and also having that vision to know that we could get here today. So thank you for that. We're going to talk about Bubba Fennell and Rita McKinney a little bit later on because they actually helped springboard us into fundraising, and we're going to talk about those activities a little bit later on. But the selection committee also included Boyd Jones, who's with us today, Linda McConnell, and Bert Pooser. These folks worked hundreds of hours over the last year to help us hire, first of all, LCK and Mickey Layden. I couldn't have a better construction manager for this project than Mickey and the team at LCK. She is a leader in the Midlands community. She has a vision and a love for this university. And Mickey, we're glad to have LCK on the team. Thank you for being part of this project. Mary Beth Branham with LS3P and her team are with us today. As you can see from the designs of this facility, they have spent many hours walking our campus, understanding what makes Carolina great, helping us remember those traditions and those feels of our horseshoe and of just the history of this institution, and they're bringing it to life in our Alumni Center. We are so glad to have LS3P design our new home. Let's give them a round of applause today as well. Alan Amsler and the team with McCrory Rentenbach are with us. They're the ones that are going to build the building. And so we're in the final stages right now of facility design, and we're looking forward to building a new building right here on this piece of property. Just to give you a sense, if you can see this concrete pad on which your chairs are seated today, that concrete pad is a little over 6,200 square feet. We're going to replace this concrete pad, and we're going to replace this piece of property with a 63,000 square foot home. Just to give you a sense of the scope and the nature and just the magnificence of our alumni home. It is literally 10 times the size of the facility that was Damon's that we just had a chance to bring down. Interestingly enough, they wouldn't let me drive the bulldozer, but it was fun watching the building come down. I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes as we get started today talking about why we want to be famously cocky and why we want an alumni home. I want to thank our president for setting forth the vision of knowing that we need an alumni home. I want to thank our board of trustees and our board of governors for wanting to be famously cocky right here in Columbia. I want to thank our governing bodies of both the city. I see the mayor's with us today. Thank you, Mayor Benjamin, for being here, and our county council leaders. We have an incredible university. This is the most amazing era in the University of South Carolina. We're famously cocky, not just about the largest freshman class that we've ever brought to Columbia, but also the most academically progressive. We're famously cocky about how over 30,000 of our students are involved not just in academics, but are involved in this community. And what a great opportunity to be famously cocky about joining our alumni and our students together to build on the rich academic tradition of this university. We're famously cocky because Gamecocks far and wide aren't just coming home for homecoming, but they're bringing their time and their volunteerism. And even yesterday, we had the opportunity to announce an entirely new program with our School of Arts and Sciences, a $10 million endowment. And it is an exciting time to see people this passionate about our university. We're famously cocky about the work that Coach Tanner, Coach, we're glad to have you with us today, and our student athletes are doing. They are winning on the field, and they are winning in the classroom, and they are setting a standard that is leading the Southeastern Conference. And tomorrow afternoon, we'll take on the Bulldogs from Mississippi State, and we'll send them home with their tails between their legs. Let's hear it for the Gamecocks. We're famously cocky about all the opportunities that we have in and around this campus to bring students and alumni together, to teach and to learn together, to bring real-world experience into the classroom, to take the skills that we learned as students at this university and give back to our University of South Carolina. This morning, we're all famously cocky because we know that the vision that began more than a decade ago is coming to fruition with the construction of our Alumni Center. Before I turn the podium over to my boss and our president, Eddie Brown, I have two gifts that I'd like to give today, and I know that they're wandering around here somewhere. Here they are. So, you can't be famously cocky without great vision. And I'm going to ask my friend and colleague, our immediate past president, Lee Bussell, and our current president, Eddie Brown, to come forward. And I've got something special for both of you. So if you guys would step forward. So in case you're wondering, we gave each of them a brick from the former Damon's property, and on it we've inscribed, "Thank you for having a vision of what's possible." And we want to end my comments today by thanking each of you for your support. For those of you that more than a decade ago, I see Larry in the audience and others who started giving money to this project because even when we didn't have a building designed, you believed in what we need. For folks who have come around the table and helped us understand what we need to build in the facility to make it functional, and for everybody who has supported and will support this project. This is a center by alumni, for alumni, and it's entirely privately funded. And as we go through our program this morning, I hope you get a sense of the love and passion so many Gamecocks have put into this project today. Ladies and gentlemen, I turn the podium over to our president of My Carolina from the class of 1969, Eddie Brown.
Thank you, Jack. I don't know whether I appreciate the brick more or you introducing Sandy, because my wife Gail is supposed to be here. Gail, are you here? Thank goodness. It would not have been a nice night tonight without recognizing Gail. You don't need to say anything, dear. 45 years, I've heard enough. Thanks. Today is certainly a very special one for the association, our students, and our alumni. I think I kind of feel today like Winston Churchill after the Battle of Britain. This may not be the beginning of the end, but by golly, it is the end of the beginning. Now we need to go forward with the next step and get this puppy built and occupied. I remember approximately 30 months ago, myself and John Lumpkin and Marcia Cole traveled to Greenville to meet with Charles Chamberlain, Kevin Short, and others from TD Bank regarding potential new market tax financing for this project. On that day, I really had a hard time imagining what today might look like. But let me tell you, today to me is bright, sunshining, and beautiful. Promise you that. As a former banker, I know how complex these types of financing projects are, especially using the tax credit route that we did, which was very, very, very favorable to the project. I would like to recognize the team from TD Bank that made this possible, led by Lance Player, who was our direct contact, Corey Buchanan, and Kevin Short. And if y'all would please stand, and let it be recognized. If y'all continue to do the good work that y'all did with us, bankers will have a good name again. We couldn't have secured the TD Bank loan and have it structured correctly without the help and support of our Alumni Association treasurer, John Wenzel. Some of y'all have already heard me say this, but when I had the honor a year and a half ago of being asked to be the president of the association, I went to John, and John was talking about rotating off or resigning as treasurer of the board. First thing I said, hang on there till June 30th of 2014, and I appreciate John doing that very much. Also, the Education Foundation's executive director helped make this possible, Russ Meekins, so that we could close the loan with TD Bank in time to take advantage of the favorable financing and the tax credits. The foundation advanced to us the private equity necessary to complete the funding package. This, combined with gifts from many of you, and of course the loan from TD Bank, we now have all the funds necessary to finish this project and to construct this Alumni Center. And it will all be with private funds. No public funds will be used whatsoever. In a few moments, Paula Harper Bethea, she gets to tell you about how we're going to pay the debt back. I just helped arrange it. She's going to get it paid back. I would like to ask now, I have not seen Russ Meekins. I don't know whether Russ is here or not, but I would like for Russ, if he is here, and I have seen John Wenzel, if y'all would please stand and be recognized. Thank you, buddy. I'm glad you got applause, John, because it says hold for applause.
Somebody made an error.
Behind the scenes, our chief, as I call him, and president, Harris Pastides, members of the University Board of Trustees, senior university leaders have all worked to ensure that this project gained the momentum necessary to become a reality. Mac Whittle, thank God he's not here. He used to be my ex-boss. Thank you. Don't tell him, Harris, don't tell him I missed that. But Mac Whittle and Ed Walton did a lot of advising us on the funding strategy, and President Pastides, Chairman Warr, and the entire Board of Trustees really worked hard together to create the excitement and support for this project. I would like to recognize the finest Chief Financial Officer of any university in the state of South Carolina, Mr. Ed Walton, if you would please stand. As he always is in the back of the room and at the front of getting good things done for the university. I'd also like to recognize the Board of Trustee members that are here today, and pray to good Lord I don't leave any of these off. Hugh Mobley, if you would please stand when I call your name. Bubba Alva Fennell, Chairman Gene Warr, Thad Westbrook, William Hubbard, and I think that's it. No, it's not. I know Tommy Cofield's here. I know. Tommy, good. Is that it? Did I leave anybody off? Let's give these guys a good round of applause. Earlier today, I saw Margaret Jordan with the State Engineer's Office. She has done a tremendous amount of support to get this project to reality. And she worked very hard with Lee Bussell and his committee, and Jack has already recognized them, to select the team to help design and build this facility. This committee really worked hundreds, and I'm not kidding about that, hundreds of hours, making sure that we had the best team possible to produce the best product possible. So today it is indeed special. As we break ground, it is my hope that alumni everywhere feel the excitement and the enthusiasm that we do today. They even blow sirens because they're so excited about everything going on. Here at the university, we use the tagline, "No limits." I don't know of a more concrete example of that than today's groundbreaking. There are truly no limits to what we will be able to accomplish in support of our university, her students, and alumni from our new facility. The last person that I'm going to recognize should probably have been the first person that I should have recognized. Our new Alumni Association Executive Director, Jack Claypool, 15 months into the job, has done an outstanding, fantastic job. Without Jack, I dare say we would not be here today. Let me say that again. Without Jack, I dare say we would not be here today. I actually have more nice things to say, Claypool. You do pay me well. Jack really, I don't know that, I think he might have known, he's a pretty smart guy, that he really is handling two jobs, and that is not a joke. Running the Alumni Association, which, by the way, has not missed a beat and continues to be the finest in the nation, and also coordinating the project that we're standing on today. That really and truly has been either one of those are full-time jobs, and we have not doubled his salary, but we might have it, so make him feel better. But his leadership, his business acumen, his enthusiasm, and just good old hard work have been truly remarkable. And again, I congratulate you, Chief. Thanks. In closing, on this site, we will help our university attract the very best students. We will help our alumni continue their learning relationship with Carolina, and we will build the bridge between the best university in the state and the best capital city in the nation. As president, I am truly humbled to work with the most amazing group of alumni, our board of governors, and the entire Alumni Association staff. As together we bring this vision to life. On behalf of the board, and as Jack said, our 270,000 Carolina alums, thank you for your support today, and thank you for your support tomorrow. Go Cox, and may God bless. Now it is my pleasure to introduce, I'm telling you, this guy, if you don't know him, try to spend a little bit of time getting to know him over the next day or two, because he is truly the finest student body president I've ever had a chance to meet, Mr. Chase Mazzell.
I told Eddie he didn't have to lie just because he had to introduce me, but I appreciate that, Eddie. Good morning and welcome home. This is an incredible, incredible day, especially for students. When you think about an alumni center, students aren't the first thing that come to mind. You think about alumni who are young. You think about alumni who are gone for 10 years, or you think about the alumni who've been gone for 50. What's important is to think about the future. What's important is to think about the potential that, as Eddie said, this is only the beginning. For us, the Alumni Center is an opportunity to bridge the gap between students and alumni. It's going to benefit students by allowing them to engage in learning, allowing them to learn from folks who are much more experienced than themselves. And it's going to benefit alumni by inspiring them with the spirit and the passion that students carry each and every day. Wherever you may be in the state, in the nation, or in the world, you may not have the opportunity to walk the horseshoe every day or to be in Williams-Brice every day. But we want the Alumni Center to be a bastion for the spirit, the tradition, and the history of the university, and to bridge that gap between students who experience it every day and the lifelong Gamecock family. On the other side, we want the students to help keep you guys young. We know you may have been gone for a few years. We know you may have forgot a few things that happened while you were in school. But we want to remind you about why Carolina has made you who you are. We want to remind you about how your life has been changed and bettered because of your ability to be a student at the University of South Carolina. And lastly, I want to say that we don't take this day as only an opportunity to celebrate. But we take this day as a challenge. That y'all did this. So what can we do? What will the next generation of Carolinians, the next generations of alumni, the next generation of the Gamecock family be able to accomplish to impact our city, our state, and our world? Welcome home.
Thank you, Chase. We truly cannot have a world-class alumni association without the involvement of our students. I'm also excited to share with you, we have a number of our students with us today. My Carolina Student Alumni Association is now the single largest student organization on the University of South Carolina's campus. And earlier this week, for the second straight year, they won the Homecoming Spirit Banner Competition and also won the Alumni Awards Competition. I see some of them standing back here. Let's give these great young people a round of applause. We are grateful that our university has a world-class president and a world-class first lady. Patricia Moore Pastides, we are honored to have you with us today, and it's my honor to introduce your husband and our president, Mr. Harris Pastides.
Welcome home, everybody. What a magnificent day it is. Let me start by recognizing again Patricia and tell you how important she is, not only to my life, but to your lives as well. Something tells me you already know that. So being a president is a team, of course. I also see David Seaton in the back. David has been a magnificent Capitol campaign chair. He is the national volunteer for Carolina's Promise, doing great things. He and his friend and our alumnus, Roger Nanny, recently hosted us in Dallas at the Dallas Country Club. Had a great affair there. Let's recognize David. David Seaton, thank you. It's a little bit of a homecoming for me as well. I was gone the last 3 days. I'm telling you that to let you know how far and wide our reach is and the story, the good news about Carolina. Yesterday I was in Charleston, front page of the Post and Courier, Gamecocks, front page of the sports section, Gamecocks again. I went to our wonderful front door called Carolina on King. If you haven't been to that wonderful retail and visitor center, it was bustling, anticipating the homecoming weekend. Day before that, Washington, D.C., had dinner with a lot of important people, business and government officials, sat right next to Steny Hoyer, happens to be the number 2 Democrat in the House of Representatives. There were Republicans there, too. Could not stop talking about our win in Columbia, Missouri. I mean, he would not. I'm saying to myself, doesn't he have anything better to do than to watch football games late at night? But he said, what a glorious comeback. And he said it let all of us know that, you could be down, government could be down, but you're not down and out until it's over. So that game meant so much to the university and to all of us. But also there were people in D.C. who said, what are you all doing down there for students? USC is a hot university in the Washington, D.C. area. We're talking about the best high schools, kids who used to want to go up north to Ivy League places. They're dying to come to the University of South Carolina. And I said, well, it's a great experience we have down here. Come and see. Come and see them. They give me their card and say, I happen to have somebody at home, too, who's interested in coming. And I said, have them come and visit. And the day before that, with the NCAA in Indianapolis on Tuesday, not only Gamecock Athletics, but Athletic Director Ray Tanner is here, I know, but the word that we had the highest academic grade point average of any university of the 14 in the SEC, they had heard about that. So we're all here together in our hometown, of course, to celebrate this wonderful groundbreaking, but I want you to know that the story of Carolina is reaching far and wide. But we all know there's something been missing, right? A house, a home for the alumni. Patricia and I have a house at Yale University when we go back, which is not that often, but when we go back, you wonder, well, gee, where do I park? Where do I get a program for today's activities? Everybody, every Yale alumnus knows you go to the Rose Alumni House. They'll take care of you there. There's some temporary parking for you. You just drop your car. There'll be a greeter there who says, welcome home. Now, they don't know me. They don't know my name, but they say, welcome home. And from there, everything else, for the reason we're there, becomes simple. We have not had a home for returning Gamecocks. And, they still come. You all come, of course, and we more or less figure things out. But that's exactly what this is going to be. It's going to be a beautifully designed, modern alumni center. It's going to be the home to the Board of Trustees. It's going to be a high-tech distance education center that will keep us connected to alumni around the world. But first and foremost, it will be a home. It will be a home to the alumni. University's got great buildings. I don't know that you know that we are spread over 570 acres. We have 12 million square feet of buildings to take care of. We have 17 buildings on the National Register of Historic Places, and yet we've never had a home, I'll say it again, for the alumni, and we soon will. I want to recognize Tommy Preston, who is the chair of our Alumni Board of Governors, a relatively youthful alumnus, made his impact, of course, as Chase is now, as president of the Student Government Association, a successful attorney in town, but he exudes Carolina through and through, wherever he is, and I'm sure he's always following us online as well. I'd like to recognize the chair of the Alumni Board of Governors, Tommy Preston. Tommy, would you stand? And I also want to say that I'm so glad that we chose this particular location on the edge of the university and the edge of the community, okay? And that means that the university and the community are one. The City of Columbia, Mayor Benjamin, City Manager Teresa Wilson, Bill Banning and other friends representing Lexington. So we're united. There are many other locations we could have looked at, closer to the core campus, but when we really thought about what we were trying to do here, we wanted to unite even further. Hard to imagine that we could be closer, but this building will make us bonded even further with the community of Columbia, Richland County, and Lexington County. So I'm excited about groundbreaking. I'm going to keep that shovel, Jack, if that's okay. When I'm done with it, I'm going to put on my hard hat. I'm going to be tempted to keep it on for the football game in case they need a running back. But let me tell you, today will flow from this. I'll be meeting with some women's basketball recruits at 11 a.m. At 12 o'clock, we'll have a luncheon for our National Capital Campaign Committee to update them on that. From there, we go to the homecoming parade. They tell me Patricia and I are in a convertible. They tell me it won't rain. We'll see how that goes. 7 p.m. at the house, our alumni awardees from all over the United States, the young alumni, the black alumni, the range of alumni coming together for award ceremony, and then more after that. And then we flow into a great game tomorrow. We've got no more away games. Who else is happy about that? We're going to take on the Bulldogs. We're going to rest next weekend and watch those other teams that are supposed to lose, we hope. Then we've got, a really important game, against Florida, of course. I can't get any tickets for that game. If you're thinking of collaring me after this little ceremony, that's one game there is absolutely no extra ticket for. And then don't look past Coastal. Is it true? Did they remain undefeated? I think they're undefeated, and they're bucking to be in their division, the top program, and they're coming to play the Gamecocks with a great spirit, but also maybe a vengeance, if I may call it that. And then we're going to have Thanksgiving. And every 2 years, our kids say, we miss you, Mom and Dad. We'd like to come for Thanksgiving. It's only on those Thanksgivings when we're hosting Clemson University. So we're going to have our family in. That may be one of the biggest games in the history of South Carolina. We don't know what's going to happen exactly with the Bulldogs, with the Gators, with the Chanticleers, or with the Tigers, but we're hopeful, aren't we? We're hopeful that this could be that storied season. I am confident, though, for the alumni of the University of South Carolina, this begins your storied season. So let's all together do a 1, 2, 3, go Gamecocks. We've got some groundbreaking to do, and we've got homecoming ahead of us. 1, 2, 3, go Gamecocks. Thank you, everybody.
And we're glad to have Cocky in the house with us today. Thanks, Cocky. All right. No project like this exists without a heart. And the person who has been the heart and soul of this vision and who has given heart and love to this project like no other member of our board, please join me in welcoming our president-elect, Paula Harper Bethea.
Wow. Let's just start with that. Wow. And let me also say, you don't want to be the person who stands here after the president of the student body, articulate, dynamic, the president of our university, articulate, dynamic, the whole package, and without whom we would not be here today. But I am here. I'm here to tell you that this is a dream. Today is the culmination of a dream. And it's a dream that began a long time ago. We are here because 453 of the 270,000 of us have already given about $1.8 million. We have a little ways to go, about 27 million. But we're going to make it because the 270,000 of us are going to see what is possible when we pull together. Let me say that about 10 to 12 years ago, a man named Bubba Fennell began the fundraising for this. A president named Rita McKinney followed and continued that fundraising. The two of them are continuing to help us today, and we are grateful for that. But from this point forward, I'm going to have shoulder to shoulder with me a man who has been an unimaginable impact on my life. I am married to the best Marine in the world, but I've kept another Marine mighty close to me for a long time. And when they came and said, would you take on the task of raising the $26 million, I said, I will if Bob Royal will. And so, Mr. Royal, here we are again. We've been here before, but we have climbed much higher mountains. This one is a joy. This is going to culminate in our home. This is going to make us all proud. This is going to give us a place to go. This is the reality of 200 years of wanting to be here. And Mr. President, I think you're right. We're at the right place. We've had an amazing alumni association, but when Jack Claypool arrived here, the earth moved. And with Lee Bussell and John Lumpkin and John MacArthur, men who literally matter so much to me, with people like Ed Walton, without whom I do very little, Russ Meekins at the foundation, we have what we need to take the next steps. You've heard all your life, and I have too, build it and they shall come. We're going to build it, and we know that this is going to be supported unlike anything else that's been supported in our university history. And Mr. Chairman, we're going to take Carolina's promise, and we, with our $26 million, are going to tie a nice bow around that. We're building a home. Alumni are building a home for alumni. Private dollars, we need your help. We need every alum's help. And with the continued support, enthusiasm, professionalism that everybody brings to this task, cocky, we're going to be cocky, proud, and at home very soon. So I thank you so much for helping us make this dream today so much a reality. Thank you, Jack.
I'd also like to recognize Jancy Hauk. Jancy is our new Vice President for Development and Alumni Relations, who is an integral part of our team. Susan Lee did a superb job passing the baton to Jancy, keeping things moving during the interim. Jancy, where are you? Oh, right in front of me. Sorry about that. We're glad to have Jancy as a new part of the Gamecock family. Let's give her a round of applause as well. Jancy's actually seated next to DePaul Eliatambe, who's the secretary of our Board of Governors. DePaul was one of the very first people to give a challenge gift through our Rich Lex board, and he also donated site prep through his professional engineering firm to help us prepare the ground and understand the site on which we're building our new alumni home. DePaul, we appreciate your long-serving commitment to this project and our association. At this time, it's my honor to invite Chairman Moore. Mr. President, the Executive Committee of our Board of Governors, would you please put on your hard hats? Let's line up behind some shovels, and let's start building our new home. Cocky, would you lead us in a countdown? Everybody, count with him.